बिस्मिल्लाह रहमान रहीम. I think time strain है और सब माशाल्लाह काम से आए हैं, तो I think we just want to make a start. I welcome all my participant and worthy Professor Gondal Saab. I think he's online with us as well. And before I waste much time, I want to introduce. My name is Asif Khan, one of the cardiology consultant in UK, and I'm a social secretary for KEMCA UK. And we have almost 30 plus members already here. And we will stick to our agenda. I've sent some rules of the agenda, but the main thing is anybody has any question, they can put in the chat section, or they can raise their hands, and I will make sure myself and also one of my co-hosts will keep looking, and we will communicate your question. And we will keep our talks to around 5-6 minutes, and we'll leave 3-4 minutes for further discussion, because we have 10-minute slots for our participants. So I think I'll give Professor Gundal Saab to make us start. Assalamualaikum, sir.
Assalamu rahmatullah, and thank you and salam to everybody. I think I must be grateful to all of you, our great KEMCOian and the friends participating from Pakistan, UK, and outside the Pakistan. And King Edward Medical University is proud of all of you and your contribution. I've just to contribute. King Edward Medical University has got attached 7 hospitals. Mayo is the main hospital, and by the grace of Allah Almighty, all these hospitals, they have been providing service to the corona patient. And along with that, King Edward established the telemedicine desk, which had the tele-OPD, tele-psychiatry desk. Ashmi will talk about the tele-psychiatry desk and the corona tele-help desk working 24/7. Similarly, we are regularly having the training courses, national and international webinar, and today webinar is one of the example. We are in close contact and collaboration with China too. Their team visited King Edward Medical University, and we had recently the meeting with them on the platform of Brahmia, and King Edward is the founder member of Belt and Road International Medical Alliance. As far as the research is concerned, we are having around more than 50 research papers in COVID-related research, and all of you, they are contributing, and inshallah, within a month, we will have the special annals of King Edward Medical University on the research related to the COVID. And in the long term, I have already mentioned in the past that every challenge comes with the opportunity, and we take this opportunity from this challenge that inshallah we will establish the Institute of Infectious Diseases, ताकि फ्यूचर में अगर इस किस्म के चैलेंजेस आते हैं जो पहले डेंगू की सूरत में आए, अब कोरोना की सूरत में है, तो हमारे पास इन्फेक्शियस डिजीज का ह्यूमन रिसोर्स एडुकेट तादाद में मौजूद हो। और साथ ही इस वक्त पाकिस्तान में जो हमारे इंटेंसिव केयर यूनिट हैं, जिसका आप तज़किरा भी करेंगे, उनको स्ट्रॉन्गर किया गया, उनको बिल्डअप किया गया। So intensive care unit में जो post graduate program है, they have been accredited from university side, from college side, from Karachi to Khyber. So by the grace of Allah Almighty, things have been taken care of. और जो चीजें जिस अंदाज में शुरू में थी, like एक वक्त था कि Mayo में पेशेंट की तादाद 430 के करीब थी, और इस वक्त पेशेंट की तादाद less than 100 है. I think we'll keep on discussing these things during question answer session. Thank you very much for inviting me and asking me to share my viewpoint, and I think thank you everybody.
Thank you very much. I will request all other participants to make sure their mics are mute, and only I'll make only the speaker please keep their mic open. So I think inshallah we'll move on, and we'll ask our chairperson from KEMCA UK, Mohammed Tufail, who's our pulmonologist consultant as well in UK, to please do the next presentation.
Thank you, Asif. Could you please let me share my slides, because it is disabled at the moment.
Okay. Do you want me to open?
Yeah, I get it. Yep. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone, especially Professor Gondal, and all of you really, and you found some special time for us. And I'm really thankful to all my colleagues in the United Kingdom who have volunteered to help us with this project, and also to you all in Pakistan that you accept our support and help, and how we can collaborate with each other. Now, first of all, I will briefly talk about KEMCA UK, which is an organization of about 500 Chemcolians working in the UK. And we have got people graduated from like 1965 up to 2018 here. So many generations of Chemcolians are here. And we are a bunch of very professional volunteers, basically. We are elected, our executives are elected every 3 years through a democratic process. And Alhamdulillah, in last few years, we have achieved a lot. We are not as rich as Americans are, as they have got bottomless money, but I can reassure you that we have got very big hearts and very brilliant minds here. Asif, could you, yeah. So I just took these 2 points from our constitution, which can be found from our website. So basically, KEMCA UK is an organization which is there to facilitate sharing of knowledge, expertise, and experiences among the Chemcolians within the UK. And it is a forum for the members to establish academic and social links, not only with our own alma mater, but also with other sister alumni associations. And we do enjoy very, very good relationships with our colleagues in KEMCA. So I have put this slide, this is the slide from Future Doctor Essence, and there they asked what is the future of healthcare within the UK, and the future has come sooner than we thought, I think. And those who suggested that the changes will come in next 20, 30 years, and I think those changes are here now, and we just need to take advantage of those. So I quote one of those participants from Future Doctor, that can you please keep a geopolitical crisis, a major global recession, or cataclysmic pandemic will be the most likely driver of change. And that is someone who said this before this pandemic. And now this pandemic is here and it is driving the change. And I am a strong believer that with our collaboration, we can bring that change. I know COVID has created havoc in the lives of many, but with our collaboration, we can take this opportunity for our own benefit. Next. So we all know that COVID-19 has got very high ITU-related mortality. From Western countries, the mortality is being quoted anything between 30 to 50%. And this is a study from 217 patients in America, and they are quoting something up to 45%. I exactly don't have any figures from Pakistan, but from speaking to different people, it could be in the range of 80-90%. I could be wrong. So how we can bring these mortalities down?
I request everybody to mute their mics, please. Thank you. Sorry.
So what KEMCA UK is proposing is development of a multidisciplinary team which consists of mainly pulmonologists and intensive care experts from UK. Here I want to clarify one point, that unlike America, our training is slightly different. That we pulmonologists usually we don't do intensive care, but we do CPAP, BiPAP, non-invasive ventilation. But once patient is intubated, then that patient becomes the property of basically intensive care physicians or anesthetists, though we can provide our medical input, etc. So from our side, pulmonologists and intensive care experts will be working together. And Alhamdulillah, we have got 3 intensivists and about 9 consultant pulmonologists in our group who have volunteered so far. So our idea is to collaborate with medical, pulmonology and ICU departments at Mayo Hospital through setting up virtual ward rounds or MDT for management of critically unwell patients with COVID-19. We all know that ICU care is not a cheap commodity. It does require lots of resources. It does require lots of training. And as Professor Gondal Saab mentioned, the plans are in progress to get up all these training programs set up. But in the meanwhile, in the short term, how we can help. As you know, in Western countries, intensive care medicine is a very well-established specialty. But unfortunately, that is not the case in Pakistan. And we should admit that. How we can bridge that gap while we work in long term to get this specialty set up in our beloved country. And the long term, our vision, our organization's vision, KEMCA UK vision, could be further collaboration. If we succeed in all this collaboration, we are not stopping here. Inshallah, COVID is going to go away. Then we can talk about many other diseases. We can talk about future collaborations. We can develop some research opportunities for all of us from the platform of KEMCA UK and Mayo and KEMU. I think the opportunities are limitless. Or even I can suggest you in future that KEMCA UK could sponsor some scholarships, bursaries for short-term placement of the trainees and staff at KEMU and Mayo Hospital to get them to UK to do some short courses with them, to train them so that they can go back and serve our patients and serve our institution. And that's what I have put down. KEMCA UK agenda is to help our patients and help our alma mater. As simple as this. KEMCA UK is not a political organization. KEMCA UK is not a pressure group or anything. We are here to share our skills and knowledge and also learn from you as well. It's not a one-way process. We will learn from you as well for the benefit of our institution and for the benefit of our patient. And I underline 3 principles that will underpin our collaboration. It will be an urgent and clear shared purpose to save lives of many patients in Pakistan. We have to adopt the digital technologies very rapidly, and adoption of video consultation and educational activities. I think this is the great opportunity and we should grab it. And then we have to do it very professionally and systematically, working plans to collaborate properly. I will say that through this collaboration, if we are able to save dozens of lives in Pakistan, I think we have sorted out our hereafter, and Allah will award us for all these our voluntary contributions. So I end here just saying that KEMCA UK is here to help not only for knowledge and experience sharing, but also long term going forward, how we can help our patients and how we can help our alma maters. Now, in last 3-4 minutes, I will like my worthy executives, my brother-like friend Rana Hafizur Rahman to say something. He's a consultant intensivist and heavily involved in care of patients here.
Thank you very much. Hafiz Bhai, you can unlock yourself.
Assalamu alaikum ji. Thank you very much for providing this opportunity and hosting this first meeting. And I hope that will open the doors for transfer of knowledge and kind of mutual understanding and developing sort of the care of the patient in Pakistan. I mean, it is unfortunate that obviously we are here and we're not directly able to help our brethren in Pakistan, but hopefully through this forum, we will be able to improve the care for our patients in Pakistan. As far as intensive care is concerned, as Mohammed Falbhai mentioned, that in UK mortality on average from COVID is about 40%. And I can quote my own hospital's figure, and in the Greater Manchester, it is about 41%. These are in the last sort of up till now. While obviously when I hear in Pakistan from different colleagues, in general, it is quoted anywhere around 90 to 100% in different ITUs, which is sad to know. And to be fair, working in intensive care, I did not see that we actually made this happen with any special magic treatment. It was simple, straightforward, intensive care, which is obviously day to day we do. And yes, I mean, there were a few bits we learned on the go and we implied that. But other than that, there was no magic injection or magic medicine we had to use, which made this outcome possible. But obviously, I know in Pakistan, people have tried all sorts of medicine, and not only in Pakistan, in other countries as well. But obviously, the mortality figures have not really changed massively. Now, coming back to how we're going to work together, Brother Saeed obviously was approached by a colleague from Faisalabad Medical College, and we have already started something similar for Faisalabad intensive cares. It's early days. We have had a couple of meetings, and we have sort of shared our experience and managed to obviously discuss few cases, given our opinion. And I wouldn't say that we have made major inroads as yet or major difference we have made, but I would expect that in due course, we would learn from each other and we will be able to develop processes. So it will work in terms of obviously data sharing and all those things. We have got a presentation to follow. We will obviously look at that. And I have had a look at another software somewhere else as well, which is useful. But as far as my previous experience is concerned, we have done primarily on Zoom. And it was pretty basic. But most of the time, I would say that was sufficient. But it was enough for us to share that information and able to give suggestions. So I would just stop there and we'll give other people a chance to speak.
Tabinda, would you mind to have a few seconds to say some comments, please? Can you?
My mic is on. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you very much for asking me to talk a little bit about what we plan to do. I think enough has been said about it, and it is an opportunity to pay back, to save lives, and I think it especially becomes important in the context of Pakistan, where there is in most cases a single breadwinner, and I think if you save one life, you're saving the whole family. It is extremely important to make sure that we do transfer and exchange of knowledge by communication, and I think it is as Rafael said, this COVID is going to go away, and it's like a sprint and a marathon. So what we have to do is a sprint at the moment, but a marathon on an ongoing basis in which we exchange knowledge, exchange expertise, and offer opportunities that can benefit people. So basically, I think there is no lack of knowledge in Pakistan. People are working as they're working, given the limitations. But I think there is an advantage in sharing the ethos that has made things click in the UK. As Rana Fiz said, that there isn't a magic bullet, but I think there's a routine that people need to follow. So I think having pathways and establishing pathways is extremely important, which is what we will be able to do now in the short term, and in the long term, which is going to be an ongoing process. I think we should be able to offer help on many levels when the time comes. So that's all I needed to say. Thank you very much.
Ghulam Murtaza, our very senior GP in London and our KEMCA treasurer, can you unlock your mic and say a few words before we move to the next speaker?
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Gondal Saab, assalamu alaikum. Especially, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. I think everybody has spoken in English. Let me take this advantage to speak in our own language, which probably I'll be able to express myself better because my thought process is Punjabi and Urdu. गोंदल साहब, जैसे कि आपने कहा है कि आपके 8 हॉस्पिटल हैं, तो मेरी आपसे दरख्वास्त ये है कि एक नवा हॉस्पिटल भी बना लें और उसका नाम रखें वर्चुअल केमका हॉस्पिटल, जिसमें आप जारी बात है बॉस तो आप ही हैं, रहेंगे, अल्लाह ताला तो और 100 साल देवे बॉस रहो तुसी, मेरे कहने का मकसद ये है कि एक वर्चुअल केमका हॉस्पिटल बनाएं जिसमें आप ना सिर्फ ये इंटेंसिव केयर और पल्मोनोलॉजी बट आल्सो डिफरेंट try to organize different ward rounds or MDT meetings with different specialties. It can be done in pediatrics, it can be done in diabetes, gastroenterology, and all that. So if we could organize this and make sure that we do ward rounds or MDTs in different specialties, that would be very helpful for both of us, both cousins, you in Pakistan and us in England and America for that matter, एक दूसरे से सीखेंगे. दूसरी बात जो है आपने कही है कि आपने वहां पे शुरू किया, तो यहाँ पे यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ ब्राइटन एंड ससेक्स ने एक लॉन्च किया, पूरी ग्लोबल उनकी रिसर्च का प्रोग्राम है. अगर आप कहें तो मैं आपको उनके साथ इन टच करवा सकता हूँ. इट इज कॉल्ड पैंडेमिक प्रिपेयर्डनेस. उन्होंने इसके ऊपर एक पूरी रिसर्च लॉन्च की है. और तीसरी बात जो है, जो थोड़े से कमेंट मैं करना चाहूंगा वो ये है कि पाकिस्तान में मोर्टेलिटी ज्यादा इसलिए इंटेंसिव केयर में कि वहां पे मरीज लाया ही उस वक्त जाता है जब उसके बचने के चांसेस नहीं है. मैं अपने कलीग से ये कहना चाहूंगा कि 85% लोग या 90% लोग ऑटोमेटिकली ठीक हो जाते हैं कोरोना से. इस मैसेज को क्लियर करें कि आपको हॉस्पिटल में जाने की जरूरत ही ना पड़े. अपनी सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग, अच्छा लॉकडाउन और
Sorry, I think you got mute. तुफैल मुर्तज़ा भाई
किसी ने म्यूट किया. अच्छा, मेरा गुजारिश करने का मकसद ये है कि यहाँ पे ट्रेनिंग सिर्फ डॉक्टर्स की ना हो, हम यहाँ पे नर्सेज जो हैं उनको, जो उर्दू स्पीकिंग नर्सिंग है, इंग्लिश स्पीकिंग, उनको तैयार कर सकते हैं ताकि वो अपने वर्चुअल वार्ड राउंड में वो कर सकें. रहा मसला, हमारे चेयरमैन साहब तुफैल साहब ने कहा कि हम शायद इतने फाइनेंशियली स्ट्रांग नहीं है जितने अमेरिका में. तो मेरी गुजारिश ये है कि हम नॉलेज में बहुत, और जैसे कि उन्होंने कहा कि दिल के बहुत बड़े हैं, और फाइनेंशियली भी हम एक और बहुत बड़ा ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम लॉन्च करने में, और आई एम मोर देन हैप्पी टू डिस्क्लोज इट कि हम ATL ASL ब्रिटिश जो है काउंसिल, रिससिटेशन काउंसिल के साथ एक प्रोग्राम बना रहे हैं जो हम पाकिस्तान सारे डिस्ट्रिक्ट के ऊपर वहां तक लेके जाएंगे. बहरहाल ये कोलैबोरेटिव दोनों तरफ से चलेगी. अगर गाय दूध पिलाना चाहती है तो बछड़ा दूध पीना चाहता है. मसला ये है कि दोनों तरफ आग जब बराबर की लगी होगी तो ये काम आगे चलेगा. बहुत शुक्रिया.
बहुत शुक्रिया. I think with the time strain, I think we will move on. We have Dr. Salman Ayaz. I will like if you can do a 10 minutes talk. उसके बाद फिर हम वकास को ले लेंगे क्योंकि he is in USA and his shift is starting in half an hour. So we can take Dr. Salman Ayaz if you can unmute yourself.
Before Assalamu alaikum. Before Dr. We have a little change of plan in the agenda, but it's just on behalf of King Edward Medical University. I'm very grateful to Dr. Tufail who contacted Professor Khalid Masood Gondal and myself, and we arranged this forum where I think in a collaborative effort we would be able to. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So in a collaborative effort, inshallah, we'll be able to share experiences and manage our patients to improve the clinical output. My name is Professor Bilkis Shabir, and I'm Chairperson, Department of Medicine, and I'm also member of CAG. CAG stands for Coronary Expert Advisory Group, which has been formulated by Punjab government. I really appreciate all the respected participants from UK, Dr. Muhammad Tufail, Dr. Rana Hafiz, Dr. Tabitha Dougal, Dr. Adeem Murtaza, Dr. Rizwan Hassan, Dr. Majid Mushtaq, Dr. Atta Saeed, Dr. Nasir Siddiqui, Dr. Numan Chaudhry, Dr. Farooq Rauf, Dr. Asif Khan, Dr. Badr Binai, Dr. Waqas Ahmed and Dr. Binish Iqbal. I'm really grateful for this effort, and I'm hopeful that we, are able to achieve something out of this. From our side, we have our worthy Vice Chancellor, Professor Khalid Masood Gondal Sahab, our respected Registrar, Professor Askan Aki, who's also Chairperson, Department of Surgery, Professor Saqib Saeed, who's Professor of Pulmonology and Dean of Dean of Medicine, and I think he would be joining soon, inshallah, with his whole team. Dr. Salman Ayaz, he will be talking shortly about the critical care medicine. He's Associate Professor of Pulmonology and Critical Care Consultant. Dr. Asif Hanif, who's Assistant Professor of Pulmonology. Professor Zahra Ishrat and Professor Farooq Iqbal. These are they are professors of anesthesia, Unit 1 and Unit 2 at King Edward Medical University. Professor Ali Mati Hashmi, who's Professor of Adult Psychiatry at King Edward, and Professor Nazish Imran, who's Professor of Child Psychiatry at King Edward Medical University. Professor Saira Usser, she is Dean and Professor of Community Medicine. Also, we have with us consultant physicians, Dr. Bilal Aziz, who's Assistant Professor of Medicine, Dr. Tazeen Nazar, who's Assistant Professor of Medicine, Dr. Sumaya Shabir, Dr. Furqan, and Dr. Naveed, all are consultants of medicine, and they are actually participating in the service for the crisis, for the COVID patients. Here, I would just start off with a little change in the agenda, if Dr. Tufail would allow me. I'll start off with the introduction about the number of patients in the ICUs and the HDUs and the ITU setup at Mayo Hospital, Lahore, which is the biggest center at Punjab, currently offering 410 bed capacity for COVID patients. I request Dr. Bilal Aziz to kindly take a few minutes to describe the setup of corona wards, ICUs, and HDUs. Dr. Bilal Aziz.
Thank you very much, Bilal. Bilal, I know just for time strain, Waqas is in USA and his shift is starting in 10 minutes. If he's from Shifa you, he's going to present this smart links, virtual clinic setup. Sure. So if we can give him 10 minutes before he can go to his shift, and then we'll take Bilal next. Thank you.
No problem at all. No problem.
Thank you, Waqas. You're on.
Okay, thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum, worthy members, and thanks Dr. Tufail and Dr. Asif, and Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Gondal Sahab. Most of you probably know I'm based in Florida and have this organization in the US, American Telecommunications. We're running various projects in Pakistan as well as in the US. And one of the projects in Pakistan, we're running Shifa for You, where we started on our initiatives to provide online doctor services as well as providing the cares for the patients at home. And one of the initiatives was to provide, at least take care of those patients who are sick, but they cannot get the bed, and providing them the oximeter and oxygen. But I'm so glad, because I think one of the dream is to provide the telemedicine platform also to the hospitals in Pakistan, so we can utilize the physicians based also in the US as well as UK to give their second opinion services, especially for the inpatient consultation. For that, we have our own telemedicine platform named Smart Clinic. Is pretty much is primarily being used in the US and various hospitals and for the various organizations, but also using in Pakistan with our Shifa for You project and some of the organizations. Using that, we kind of collaborated with KEMCA in the US. So they are starting this program of the online doctor, where KEMCA volunteer physician would like to start seeing patients in Pakistan. And that's why I reached to Dr. Tufail to see if we can. I would be very happy to provide our platform to KEMCA UK, so the whole telemedicine process can be streamlined. there's no doubt, like a lot of times you just use what I call WhatsApp as like one of the largest electronic medical record system. But the challenge we all see with the Zoom or the smart clinic, that if you do not have patient's medical record system or information, it is very hard and challenging for the consultant physicians to give their opinion. So with that, we would be providing our smart clinic solution to KEMCA physicians. What it does require, though, support from physicians and the team at the Mayo Hospital. Our team would train the residents or those physicians there. It's a cloud-based system which just require you to have an internet and a laptop and with the webcam. And what it does is that you just need to add all the patient information, and instead of just writing your H&P or progress note in the chart, if our doctors in training who are at those COVID ward, they can write all the information, the H&P and everything in this system. Then it will allow consultant physicians in the UK or in the US to access that chart during the consultation. It has a built-in telemedicine system, EMR system, and using this, not only you can have peer-to-peer consultation as well as consultation with the patients, but it also has built-in EMR. So at the real time, the physician will be able to see all the patient's record and information. And the whole purpose is to provide a consultant or second opinion services. So I think that system will fulfill the requirement. Given time constraint, I'll just stop here. And if any questions, happy to answer those.
Thank you very much, Vikas.
Asif, could I please ask one question, because Vikas has to leave. Vikas, will it facilitate video consultation? If from UK, we have to discuss with our colleagues at KEMU through video. It is something built in?
Yes, Dr. Tufel, I'm just showing that. If you see your screen, yeah, it has a built-in teleclinic. That's the makes it complete telemedicine EMR system. Not only you have the built-in video, so you don't need Zoom or anything else, but it also has it opens the EMR system in the same window. So while you're talking to them, you have whole patient information there, and the consultant can simply write their consultation note or their assessment and plan note, and then just can sign it. And then on the other side, so not only creates the whole electronic healthcare record system, but it also gave a real-time assessment of the patient. You as a intensivist or as a pulmonologist, you need all this patient's medication database, vital signs, and it even has a DICOM. If you really need to see the images of the chest X-ray or the CAT scan, those images can be uploaded as well.
Thank you very much. Any other
Thank you,
Vikas?
Vikas, can I ask a question, please?
Yes.
About uploading, say, for example, blood sugar readings from CGM and things like that. Does it have the ability to do that?
You mean wirelessly from the devices?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does have ability, but we are integrated with Omron devices in the US. So I'm not sure if those are same grades are available in Pakistan. But they can actually just take it can take the manual reading as well.
What I meant was the CGM, the continuous glucose monitoring data, like say, does it upload
the insulin
that?
pump, you mean? Insulin pump?
Yeah. Pumps and the glucose monitors.
Yeah, if we know the device, and then we can integrate. So we can integrate with any device as long as we have the API. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Atar Saisab, quick question before we move next talk, please. Thank you.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum, Vikas. Nice to see you. Thank you for your presentation. It's a very quick question. So if you're doing an MDT, there'll be multiple people in different parts of the world, in the UK and Pakistan, probably America as well. So all of us can have these shared screen on which we can see data, including images and videos, and we can talk as we're doing now.
Yes, so it definitely not only it allows you to share your screen with the the other side, but it also allows, like Zoom, we are doing multiple people joining the call. So the smart training does allow multiple people to join the same call, and they, depending on the access we would create, if it's a physician, they all can have access to the patient chart.
And does it mean that it's all? I'm sorry, just internet based, or is it a special app that we have to download?
No, it's just the internet based. All you need is just internet. We do have an app also, but the app does not have all the functionality, like full EMR system. So all they need at the Mayo Clinic ward is a laptop with a good internet connection and a webcam, and that's all is needed.
That's excellent. Thank you. Go on, Bilkis.
There's one question. There's one question. What about the patient privacy? How do we respect that?
It's a pure HIPAA compliant. It's the system has been built. It's primarily being used, as I said, in the U.S. So, and as you know, in the U.S., everyone is about privacy and HIPAA compliance. Of course, we want to make sure that the users, whoever is using it, they take care of the password and don't share it with everyone. So as far as system is concerned, absolutely, we use Amazon AWS, Amazon Web Service, and all the systems, data and everything is in the US.
Thank you very much. Rana Fisab, before we move on, you have a quick question?
Vikas, I just wanted to ask that at Mayo Hospital, I'm not sure what kind of system they have got, whether it's online records or they have got all paper-based. So how will they transfer that data on your system so that people in UK can see that?
So good question. I'm not sure if they have any, any comprehensive EMR system. That's what I think. Yeah. So that's
we
what
still have paper system. We
so
still have paper.
Yeah, so
but we have advanced in some way during this crisis in way of establishing a telemedicine department, upon which shortly Professor Ali Madi Hashmi will be talking about, is telemedicine communication with the patients, tele-OPD as well as tele-corona. But we do not have this patient records. No, we do.
Yes, I think that is a key, because you cannot really have a good telemedicine, and the care if you do not have EMR system. That's why we build EMR system before we integrate it with telemedicine in it. It can be used either, for serve both purposes. As to answer your question, Dr. Rahman, what they have to do is, and this is, I think, the time we, start training our medical students and the residents, because when they graduate and they come to US and UK, honestly, that they do not have experience with the EMR system. And we've been watching this, and I'm sure, inshallah, Dr. Gondal will take, lead in this with, in that initiative as well. All they have to do is, create, it's pretty much what we are telling the doctors to. They can set up their own templates, various templates based on specialty, and they can, make their own note. And once they do, instead of just writing on the paper chart, all they have to do is either dictate, or they can just simply type the information. And what it does is automatically saves all the information. And not only they can generate, e-fax the note and everything, but its system also allows to generate a whole PDF file, which can be shared, with other consultants as well.
Thank you, Vikas. I think we need to move
You're
on.
welcome. All right. Thank you so much.
We can contact Vikas directly, inshallah. I will, ask Bilal Aziz. Bilal Aziz and I have worked together as a time 2004 in Mayo Hospital. So Bilal, welcome.
Assalamu alaikum, Asam. Thank you very much. Yes, we worked together and it was a very good time of East Medical Ward.
Thank you.
I will briefly introduce about the bed allocation for COVID-19 patient in Mayo Hospital, Lahore. And we have a total allocated bed capacity of 401 patients. And there are 20 ICU beds for confirmed cases and 14 ICU beds for suspected cases. And we have another ICU beds, 13 beds for sick patients when there are usually suspected cases are more than 14 sometimes, and we shift sick patients to suspected cases to that ICU. So total ICU beds, we have about 47 ICU beds. In HDUs for confirmed cases, we have 140 beds for confirmed cases, and for suspected cases, HDU beds allocated are 62. And isolation beds, step-down beds or isolation beds for confirmed cases are 107. And the single room for isolation, that in the Gora ward or ABH, who have worked in the Mayo Hospital, they know there are 14 isolation rooms for confirmed or suspected cases. And we also have an isolation ward for suspected patients that have 18 beds. So total 401 capacity of Mayo Hospital for COVID-19 patients, 47 of ICU, and 200, almost 200 for HDUs, and 107 for confirmed cases isolation beds, and 14 for single rooms. So total patients reported to the Mayo Hospital till now from March 2,318, and deaths of confirmed cases is 309, and deaths of suspected cases are 204, and we have a 503 cases, those who are totally recovered, those from the confirmed cases. So today, during the last 24 hours, new positive cases admitted in Mayo Hospital during the last 24 hours, one patient admitted that is positive and confirmed, and 4 patients with the suspicion of COVID-19 admitted during last 24 hours. So total admitted patients today are 89. So डेट में 89 patients हैं, और पिछले एक महीना पहले ये 300 400 प्लस भी चले गए थे, और बेड्स पे डबलिंग भी, बेड्स की शॉर्टेज भी हो गई थी. तो उस वक्त जरा हमें प्रॉब्लम था. थोड़ा सा ब्रीफली मैं आपको बता दूंगा कि रोस्टर को कैसे हम कंटिन्यू कर रहे हैं. जो आईसीयू के पेशेंट्स हैं उनको टोटली एनेस्थीसिया की टीम और उनके साथ मेडिसिन की टीम और पल्मोनोलॉजी की टीम ये मिलके देख रहे हैं. टोटली कवर जो है वो एनेस्थीसिया का है, लेकिन कंसल्टेशन कवर इज बाय मेडिसिन एंड पल्मोनोलॉजी टीम. और आईसीयू में एक रेजिडेंट मेडिसिन का, एक एनेस्थीसिया का और एक पल्मोनोलॉजी का 24 आवर्स में रहता है. और उसके अलावा जो कंसल्टेंट राउंड बाय द प्रोफेसर एंड assistant professor and associate professor of pulmonology, anesthesia and medicine daily basis पे होते हैं. और एक कंसल्टेंट मेडिसिन का, पल्मोनोलॉजी का, एनेस्थीसिया का ऑन कॉल रहता है फॉर 24 आवर्स. और एक सीनियर रजिस्ट्रार इन आईसीयू एंड एचडीयू ऑफ ऑल 3 डिपार्टमेंट्स ऑफ मेडिसिन, एनेस्थीसिया एंड पल्मोनोलॉजी remain available for 24 hours and sit there and provide their services. So total number of consultants involved daily are 7 to 8, 2 or 3 from each department, and senior registrar, 12 senior registrar involved in 24 hours, and about 60 residents of all departments are involved in 24 hours. So
Bilal, sorry to disturb you here. Can I please just clarify as you go along? You said there are 47 ICU beds.
जी.
No, the patients who are requiring BiPAP or CPAP, do they go to ICU or your HDU?
ICU.
ICU. So ICU consists of patients who are requiring CPAP, BiPAP, or they are intubated.
जी.
Just to be clear.
वाले ज्यादा पेशेंट्स इंटुबेशन वाले ही आईसीयू में जा रहे हैं, और सीपीएप के लिए भी. लेकिन नंबर ऑफ पेशेंट जिस तरह पिछले महीने में बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ गए थे, तो हम एचडीयू में भी ये प्रोविजन थोड़ी बहुत बाईपैप की दे रहे थे.
ठीक है. So we will be interested in those patients who are on CPAP, BiPAP or intubated, just to be clear.
जी.
Great. Bilal, any more questions for Bilal?
If there are no questions, I'll move on. I think Dr. Tufail's answer would be shortly, question would shortly be answered by, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Would shortly be answered by Dr. Salman Ayaz, who's the critical care physician. Dr. Bilal talked about a time. The first patient we received at Mayo Hospital was on the 26th of February, and he was a mild case. And I remember that week we had only 5 patients. And progressively, the number increased to a point where, just Dr. Bilal mentioned, it reached to 423 patients, where we had a capacity of only 410. That was the time when SIAG, I just talked about, the Coronary Expert Advisory Group, and Punjab government, they introduced the policy of self-isolation. We followed the guidelines of WHO. I shared with that the mild, moderate, and severe cases. And the criteria where the patients fell into the mild group, they were advised self-isolation wherever they had facilities to isolate themselves at home, with separate washroom facilities preferable, and those patients who were not living alone, with advice about basic supportive treatment and precautionary measures. So that led to a decrease in the number of patients admitted at Mayo Hospital, to the point, I think the week before the last, we still had 106 patients. So now we have reduced to 86, as Dr. Bilal has just mentioned today. So that was where telemedicine came in, and there were a number of patients who were of the mild stage, who were treated on telemedicine, and they were advised to report. There is a system here, like a rescue system here. Most of you must be knowing about it. Rescue 1122, where they have an app. They know where they have which type beds available, either in the private or the government setup. So immediately the patient is advised to contact 1122 in case their oxygen saturation falls below 93%, and they are taken to the right spot. So that is about the mild cases. As far as the severe, moderate to severe cases, I'll just be briefly touching upon this, but we are offering them steroids, we are offering them tocilizumab. Recently, we have been under certain criteria. If you like, I'll share the document with you that SIAG, along with Punjab government, prepared as a guidance for all the clinicians to follow the certain clinical, radiological, and biochemical criteria upon which tocilizumab is to be given, its contraindications, its indications. Regarding oxygen, that is the first priority, especially the non-invasive technique. Dr. Salman would be talking about that. We introduced in fact, we were giving steroids even before this dexamethasone 6 milligram has recently been in the air, but we were already giving steroids in moderate to severe cases wherever we were suspecting CRS. And besides that, recently, Punjab government has provided us with remdesivir. So this is another thing we are going to start. We are going to make protocols for that. It was day before yesterday that Punjab government provided us with this injection, and inshallah in fact, we have started using it. Today was the first day we used remdesivir on a patient. Generally, we are providing wherever D-dimers are raised, we are providing Lexane or Rivaroxaban. So this is the general management we are giving to moderate patients. As far as the severe and the ICU patients are concerned, I'll request Dr. Salman Ayaz, who's our critical care physician and associate professor of pulmonology, to further conclude upon that. Dr. Salman.
Salman Ayaz, please, can you unmute yourself? Thank you.
Dr. Salman, kindly unmute yourself. Salman, unmute, please.
I'm not sure really.
Salman, can you hear me?
Well, he's not unmute. I've asked him. Let's see if we can. He's definitely online.
So, can I interrupt?
Yes,
sure,
yes.
sure, sir.
या सिर्फ आखिर में ही बात करूं. I have to talk for
No. I think Professor, you have a name before, just after Salman, so you can start and we can take Salman after you.
उसमें एक तो राजा अदीम मुर्तजा मुझे देख के बड़ी खुशी हुई और अदीम I still remember you took us to the parliament and I wish to go again to that parliament with you, Dr. Tufail and Tabinda and Athar Ahmed Saeed. That was a very pleasant trip. I always remember. दूसरी आपने बात की virtual KEMCA hospital. Inshallah, that is established from today onward. And Professor Bilkis will be the in charge, or you can say the CEO of that virtual hospital. And inshallah, we'll keep on interacting and doing these things. I think that is a wonderful idea, innovative idea, matched with King Edward Medical University. Second, Vikas, I'm very grateful to you. You have always the innovative ideas, and my also interest is in this electronic monitoring system. And all of you know, College of Physicians Surgeon introduced e-log system in 2008, and I have been one of the founder member of e-log system. Currently, 24,000 residents, they are having all these data and record, जिस तरह विकास ने बताया, और उसके बाद in continuity ये चीजें चलती रही और इस वक्त टेलीमेडिसिन में every record and everything is saved in the same way. और hospital के patient का भी सारा record that is integrated, that is there, that is computerized. Issue आपके साथ share करने का आएगा. Issue of security and confidentiality that we have to discuss with the health authorities और उसके बाद we will see how we can share these things. और अगली बात मैं जो करना चाह रहा था अभी डॉक्टर बिलाल ने भी बेड्स और इन तमाम चीज़ों की बताई. There are some good news from Pakistan also. मैं असल में अभी तो फैल या किसी मेरे दोस्त ने तस्करा किया बल्कि सभी ने किया कि यहाँ mortality 80-90% है. मेरे कोलीग्स बैठे हैं और सलमान इस पे ज़रूर बात करे जो मैं अभी बात करने वाला हूँ और बिल्किस भी ये बात इस पे अगर मैं मुख्तलिफ कर रहा हूँ तो ज़रूर बात करें. पाकिस्तान में इस वक्त सिचुएशन इज रिलेटिवली बेटर. ईद के फौरन बाद एक सर्ज आई थी कि जिसमें जो हम नहीं लॉकडाउन उस अंदाज में कर सके थे, बट इस वक्त वी आर रिलेटिवली कंफर्टेबल. जिस तरह प्रोफेसर बिल्किस ने बताया कि 423 एक वक्त हॉस्पिटल में पेशेंट एडमिटेड थे एंड टुडे वी आर हैविंग 89 पेशेंट और इसमें आईसीयू के और बाकी पेशेंट उनका उन्होंने तस्करा किया. और इसमें जो मोर्टेलिटी आईसीयू रिलेटेड है, I have just talked to Professor Faraq, who is the in charge of our ICU. जो मुझे उन्होंने फिगर भेजी है वो उन्होंने कहा है कि we have got the different ICU, central ICU है, 1 है, 2 है, कार्डियोलॉजी में ICU पेशेंट है. I don't want to go into the detail of those ICU patient. लेकिन ICU में जितने पेशेंट रहे they were 478. अभी जो फिगर मेरे पास आई है 478 में 255 died and 223 they survived from ICU. I'm not talking about those patients जो आइसोलेशन में थे, जो क्वारंटाइन में थे, जो पॉजिटिव थे, उनकी बात मैं नहीं कर रहा. तो मैं ये समझता हूँ कि अराउंड 50% के करीब या 54% आप कह सकते हैं कि कलेक्टिव मॉर्टेलिटी आईसीयू की है. हमारे पास जो पेशेंट आते हैं इसमें माइल्ड केसेस में प्रॉबेबली 80% फॉल करते हैं, जो ऑलमोस्ट 99% बच जाते हैं. इसी तरीके से जो पेशेंट एचडीयू में जाते हैं उनका भी सर्वाइवल रेट 70-80% से ऊपर होता है. आईसीयू में जो पेशेंट जा रहे हैं इसमें नेचुरली आपके पास, हमारे पास, सलमान इस पे फर्दर लाइट थ्रो ही विल थ्रो लाइट ऑन दैट. आईसीयू में पेशेंट जा रहे हैं, यू हैव गॉट टू सॉर्ट ऑफ वेंटिलेशन. वन इज इन्वेसिव वेंटिलेशन जिसमें ट्यूब डल रही है एंड सेकंड इज नॉन इन्वेसिव वेंटिलेशन. जो नॉन इन्वेसिव वेंटिलेशन है जिसमें बीपैप, सीपैप इनका तस्करा आप लोग करते हैं, इसमें व्हेन आई हैव डिस्कस्ड विद देम दे हैव टोल्ड मी एंड दैट इज द फैक्ट कि 70% पेशेंट ऑन नॉन इन्वेसिव वेंटिलेशन ये बच रहे हैं. इन्वेसिव वेंटिलेशन का ट्यूब के साथ रिजल्ट्स अच्छे नहीं है. एंड व्हेन आई टॉक टू राव जफर हु इज द प्रोफेसर ऑफ इंटेंसिव केयर इन अमेरिका, और ये आप जानते हैं 87 के ग्रेजुएट हैं, उन्होंने भी बताया कि जहां ट्यूब डलती है इन्वेसिव वेंटिलेशन प्रोबेबली इंटरनेशनल वर्ल्ड में और वेस्ट वर्ल्ड में भी उसके रिजल्ट बहुत अच्छे नहीं है. दैट इज व्हाई दे आर एनकरेजिंग मैक्सिमम पेशेंट ऑन नॉन इन्वेसिव वेंटिलेशन. इन्वेसिव वेंटिलेशन म्यो के रिजल्ट ये बात करेंगे सलमान. म्यो के साथ जो अटैच हॉस्पिटल है हमारे कोट ख्वाजा सईद है और गवर्नमेंट नवाज शरीफ हॉस्पिटल है. जो कोट ख्वाजा सईद हमारा हॉस्पिटल है इसमें वेंटिलेटर 4-5 के करीब है, लेकिन वहां इन 4-5 में भी हमारे एक पेशेंट जो इन्वेसिव वेंटिलेटर पे 14 डेज के बाद वो 80 इयर्स के साथ बचे हैं, नॉन इन्वेसिव वालों का रेशो वो भी 70% के करीब है. सो मोर्टेलिटी इन इंटेंसिव केयर यूनिट इन पाकिस्तान इज आई थिंक नॉट मोर देन 50%. और नॉन इन्वेसिव में हमारे रिजल्ट बहुत एनकरेजिंग है, दे आर अबव 70%. इन्वेसिव में नेचुरली वी आर मैचिंग विद द इंटरनेशनल वर्ल्ड, और थोड़ी सी टेक्नोलॉजी आपकी बेहतर है, मे बी हमारे उस अंदाज में ना हो. सो दिस वाज समथिंग व्हिच आई वांटेड टू ऐड, जो इससे पहले डिस्कशन हो रही थी. अगर सलमान आ गए तो सलमान से आई थिंक जी.
Thank you so much, sir. You have, I think, answered half of the things which Salman was about to. I'll ask Dr. Asif Hanif, who's working with Dr. Salman, and he is a very important member of our pulmonology team. He's working as assistant professor of pulmonology. And where we are all students of Professor Khalid Masood Gondal, he is my student. I feel proud in saying that. Dr. Asif Hanif, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. Can you till Salman is online, can you tell about the ICU management you're providing to in the ICU and the HDUs?
Things used to start with the number of the patients that we received immediately after Eid, and that was the bombarding number of the patients which we received in the ICU. Some were crashing and some were quite a bit stable. We isolated the patients who were at about 5 liters of oxygen to 8 liters of oxygen to the isolation rooms and the HDUs, because the numbers were quite a big. And at that time, the number of the patients who were just getting critical and they were requiring at about 10 to 15 liters of the oxygens, they were managed over there in the ICUs and as well as in the HDUs. And fortunately, we had at that time, as we are living in the underdeveloped country, we will be having the PEP masks. And these PEP masks stopped many of the patients to enter into the ICU for the intubations and to convert them into the NIPPV use. As we don't have HFNOs in our ICU setups, and that PEP mask that created a difference in order to protect these patients who were at about 15 liters of oxygen on NRM to transfer them into the ICU settings. We managed them into the isolation rooms as well as as the oxygen supplies were there, and in the HDUs where the oxygen supply was present, and that PEP mask that was being attached with the oxygen and providing a PEEP as well, and without any attachment of the machine on this, and that increases the saturation of that bulk of numbers which we received in our emergencies to a lot, that were managed by these only PEP masks. And the medical team and the pulmonology team, medical treatment has been started, control the blood sugar levels that were raised by the steroids, and they have multiple comorbid conditions. Out of them, some of the people, they were more critical and they were not controlled by the use of these PEP masks. And these were those people who are having age of about 60 plus, and they are having comorbid conditions already on steroids, asthmatics, and chronic lung conditions were present. They were shifted to the ICUs, where we received them into the ICUs and then tried to manage them with the NIPPV. And actually, this is the great difference to create in the ICU management, because NIPPV prevented about 45% of the cases to convert them into the IPPV. So their respiratory rate, the oxygen saturations, their requirements of oxygen, they progressively decrease with the passage of time. At about 5th to 7th day, we were able to step them down from the ICU to the HDU again, and then to the isolation, and then ultimately would be able to discharge them. And that is about a figure of about 45% people, they were on NIPPV and attached with the ventilator, and ultimately getting the tocilizumab and steroids, antibiotics, anticoagulation according to the international guidelines. They were managed accordingly. So this is a good success for the ICUs, which are about a bit underdeveloped country in that kind of setup. we were refusing any patient to go out of Mayo Hospital and referring.
We are really grateful for what you're offering, and I pay salute to you. You were there. You are there whenever we call you. Once I had a patient for whom Asif came at 12 midnight. Really grateful for you, Asif. We salute you for that. And since Dr. Salman Ayaz, are you there now? Are you on the system?
One question with the Dr. Rizwan Hassan first. Unmute yourself.
Sorry, thank you very much. I wanted to be very congratulatory to Dr. Asif for and as Professor Gondal has also referred that your invasive techniques are a matter of last resort and you want to use non-invasive ventilation. The only question I would ask is whether the non-invasive, how are you, because it's an aerosol generating procedure. Non-invasive systems mean that the COVID virus will spread from that system unless you're using a hood mechanism for non-invasive ventilation. So how are you protecting those people who are caring for the patients and others? So how are you preventing the establishment from spreading the disease further?
Thank you.
Sir, thank you very much. Sir, these non-invasive masks, they were actually, first of all, the PEP masks, they're also aerosol generating procedures, but there was having a high flow oxygen along with the tightly fixed face mask upon the face of the patient. That produces aerosol, but the amount that is quite a bit low, as the similar case in that of HFNO, which is having a nasocannula and the face mask on, that is also producing aerosol, but the quantity or the numbers are low. But as far as the NIPP is being concerned, that is attached with that of ventilator. So that goes into a closed system having the filters attached with them as well. So the aerosol, that will be far less as compared to that rest of the things. It's as compared to the BiPAP and the CPAP, other machines which are attached to the central supply.
Thank you very much, Salman. You want to start your next talk, please, with the time? Thank you. We can't hear you, Salman. Even you're unmute. No, I'm sorry. I think there's a problem with Salman.
I think there's some problem.
So we have Dr. Ali Haj.
Before Asif, before you move, I think if Salman is not going to present, can we have a couple of minutes to just ask few questions?
Go ahead.
So
Yeah.
Asif, just to be clear, because the system is slightly different here and there. So for ICU, so your patients who are on CPAP or BiPAP, non-invasive ventilation, and who are on invasive ventilation, both groups are in ITU at the moment. You are not using HDU for non-invasive ventilation. Number one question. Second question is, how many patients you have got at the moment in Mayo who are invasively ventilated or who are non-invasively ventilated? Thank you.
Yes, it's a very good question, Dr. Tufail. Thank you. The patients who are in non-invasive positive pressure ventilation attached with a mechanical ventilator, these group and the invasive ventilatory patients, they are in ICU. When we step them down, for example, if the invasive ventilatory patient that steps down on the non-invasive and ultimately it is on the non-breather, then a face mask, then we step down into the ICU in the North Medical Ward, on the Musafir Khana, you already knew that, and some of the isolation rooms which are already available. HDUs, they are being used when the patient is having a high flow oxygen requirements. For example, 12 to 15 liter of oxygen. They are stable a bit, about respiratory rate about 30, and they are just coping with the disease well with the non-rebreather. They stay in the HDUs. when they get critical or the comorbid conditions are present, and we foresee anticipate when these patients, they may get critical in about a 6-hour time, we used to shift them to the ICUs and observe them there. Then we attach, don't wait, don't let them exhaust, and put them onto the NIPPV. And if indicated, then we'll convert them into the IPPs as well.
Thank you very much.
That's fine. Thank you. And how many patients you have got at the moment on non-invasive ventilation and invasive?
We have 4 patients in the IPPV, and it's a good news that one of them, she is being extubated today, and she is maintaining 8 liters oxygen requirement, and about 97% saturation is there. Her name is, I'm not going to say that. That is a good news that IPP patient has been extubated today, and 4 patients are on ventilatory support, and about 6 to 7 patients are right now on the NIPPV, and they are having a better outcome now.
Thank you.
Salman, can you hear us, or can you talk now? Salman,
I think Dr. Asif has given all the information which Dr. Salman had to give, and I think there's something wrong with his system. We can move on to Professor Ali Madi Hashmi now.
Yeah.
If Salman is in the meanwhile able to communicate, we can have him.
Well,
Otherwise, Professor Ali Madi Hashmi will be talking about telemedicine.
It's fine.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Well, I've been tasked by Gondal Saab and Professor Bilkis to talk a little bit about the IT facilities and what we've done in terms of telemedicine since the onset of COVID-19. So beginning in the 3rd week of March, when the lockdown was first imposed in Lahore, the governor of the Punjab, who's also Chancellor of KEMU, inaugurated the Telemedicine Center of Excellence. It's just a couple of days after that, I requested Gondal Saab that we should add a telepsychiatry service. And so that's been the telemedicine center has been up and running since that time, and the telepsychiatry service has also been running. So in the telemedicine center, we have dedicated corona desks to provide services and information to people calling in about COVID-19. We also have desks that are providing specialty-specific services like cardiology, medicine, orthopedics, and so on. And then we have our telepsychiatry service. So we've been focusing primarily on providing services both to patients and their families in Mayo Hospital, admitted to Mayo Hospital for COVID-19 and other related problems. But also, since of course telepsychiatry allows us to extend our reach beyond Mayo and beyond King Edward. So we've been getting some calls from outside Mayo also, which we've been facilitating. So in addition to providing services for patients and their families, I think the just as important, or perhaps more important, is providing support and care for our healthcare, our frontline healthcare workers, our pulmonologists, our medical staff, our nurses, our technicians. So the telepsychiatry service has been active in doing that, and we've had patients admitted to Mayo earlier in the pandemic. Things are beginning to ease off a little bit, as you heard about now, and we're hoping that we don't have another surge. But we had good success providing services to both patients and families regarding our own service of telepsychiatry, which is, I'm happy to report that with the help of with the guidance of our Vice Chancellor and with the active support of Professor Bilkis and our medical colleagues, the telepsychiatry service is the first of its kind in the history of King Edward and Mayo. So we are very happy, and Gondal Saab has assured me that they would like to continue that beyond the duration of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we've had a number of people in Mayo COVID wards, family members, children, COVID patients, including some of our own staff members who were admitted to our facility for COVID-related symptoms, who have been lucky to provide telepsychiatry services too, and those have been much appreciated by the staff and by the patients that we've treated. The other thing, I think, in addition to telemedicine that I'd like to talk about is the fact that while all of us are distressed at the suffering and the death that COVID-19 has imposed on all of us, the good thing, if you can say there's a good thing about a pandemic, is that it has sort of accelerated the adoption of IT technology for multiple things. So King Edward has been taking the lead in developing a learning management system, and we are providing services to our students since our university has been closed, as per government orders, all universities and all colleges and all schools in Pakistan have been closed for about 3 months now. But we have a very strong and growing learning management system in which we are providing teaching and training to our medical students through Google Classroom, through Zoom lectures, and all those things. We are also doing the same for our postgraduate trainees and for our, in addition to our own staff members, our own students, we have also begun to provide services for, King Edward is providing services not just for our own students, but also for other medical colleges and universities in Punjab. And we plan to extend that. Just recently, we had a national webinar in which we had participants from Khan University, we had participants from KPK, from Sindh. So really, we are trying to develop a platform for learning and teaching at King Edward that will involve not just our local people, but also people provincially and nationally also. And the Higher Education Commission of Pakistan, which regulates all higher education institutions in Pakistan, as Gondal Saab, they contacted our Vice Chancellor, who appointed me as one of the focal people for the Higher Education Commission. So we are developing guidelines for using teletechnology for teaching and training in Pakistan. And the third thing, I think Gondal Saab already talked about that. Some participants had said something about developing an EMR, and so we are sort of working on that, beginning with telemedicine. We are collecting the data for calls that come in through telemedicine, and we have a lot of research going on, starting with the call that we are getting, the services we're providing with telemedicine, and hopefully we'll be able to expand that to really collect some ground level data in Pakistan, which is one thing that's missing in Pakistan, is good population-based studies of various different illnesses, including COVID-19. So hopefully with our telemedicine technology and our development of EMRs and learning management systems, we'll be able to improve our collection of data and provide the data needed for tackling this pandemic and those of the future. Thank you
very much.
Dr. Ali Hashmi, thank you very much. I think this is a wonderful service you are providing. My specific question is pertaining to this project. If we are going to start these teleconsultations and discussions and MDTs, virtual ward rounds, what are the specific facilities available at MIU, like laptop, IT, good Wi-Fi connection, etc.?
We have a campus-wide Wi-Fi system available, which can be upgraded. And it's interesting, somebody mentioned that earlier. The Wi-Fi system is provided with some assistance from KEMCA, USA. And I'm also involved in KEMCA operations because I was in USA for 15 years or so. So we have the facilities available in our universities, and we're making the facilities available in the hospital, including the backbone, the infrastructure for internet facilities, which will take a little bit of work, but we're already working on that. And hopefully in the coming days and weeks, we'll have the infrastructure in place and the equipment in place in order to support the system that you're proposing to provide those services.
Aliashi, मैं ऐड कर दूं तुफैल, we have got the best IT people with me. और जो टेलीमेडिसिन है, इसमें we have got over 20 desks जिसपे लैपटॉप and everything is going on. लेकिन आपके साथ जो ये वर्चुअल हॉस्पिटल और ये जो इंटरेक्शन है, इसके लिए मैं प्रपोज करूंगा अली मदी हाशमी की सरबराही में और सुपरवाइज करेगी प्रोफेसर बिल्किस, केमकाना लैब में ये आप मीटिंग रखें जो इनके साथ डिस्कशन हो, ताकि जो हमारा टेलीमेडिसिन डिपार्टमेंट है वो इंटरप्ट ना हो, बट वी विल प्रोवाइड ऑल द IT facility over there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Sarafsal, if you're there, can you talk a little about the special issue of annals of King Edward Medical University on COVID? Dr. Saira Afzal, are you there?
I think so. I haven't seen her. So.
No, she was there, but I think she's... I request Professor Afzal Naqi to kindly talk about that.
Clinical governance, thank you. You can unmute yourself, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Asif. It's a pleasure to be here with you, and especially my special salam to Dr. Asif, Dr. Tufail, who has worked with us as a junior colleague. Now, when we talk about clinical governance, we all know what it means. It means a systematic way to ensure and improve healthcare delivery to our patients in a safe and secure manner. Now, various components of clinical governance that are needed to look into include the risk management so that no untoward incident happens, and that only occurs when you have guidelines in place, when the standard operating procedures are communicated properly to all the healthcare service providers, and the adherence is then monitored and checked repeatedly by clinical audits. Now, at this point of time, there are multiple audits going on, and we are collecting data on different modes of management being used already know. Then another important thing in clinical governance is about education and training of the healthcare service providers. And perhaps this has been mentioned already that at King Edward Medical University, we have been providing training courses. We have trained the healthcare providers of our attached teaching hospitals. We have our faculty has gone as far as Nishtar Medical University, Multan, and in Gujarat, and also in the north as well, to train the healthcare providers in managing COVID patients. Similarly, we have training programs conducted for our own healthcare providers, including not only house surgeons and postgraduate residents, but also the nursing staff and the paramedical staff as well. Now, to ensure that the evidence-based medical treatment is given to these COVID patients, as SIAG has already been talked about, we know that the Corona Experts Advisory Group issues guidelines, and then as 4 of our faculty members are very important members of that SIAG group, including Professor Saqib Saeed, our chairman of the Pulmonology Department, Dr. Bilkis Shabir, Dr. Saira Afzal, and Dr. Somia Iqtidar, and Dr. Ali Madi Hashmi as well. At this point of time, somebody asked a question about a critical incident reporting system. We have a critical incident reporting system, and the team which, because the teams which are looking after these patients, the medical teams, they have a rotation of 1 week per unit, and the anesthesia teams, they change 24 hours. So they have their own separate critical incident reporting systems, and at this point of time, a central reporting system is in place where these critical incident reports are collected and then reviewed subsequently. Then, talking about clinical governance, we also have to think about the patient and the carer experience. We have some feedbacks from the patients as well. We have feedbacks from the carers. And as Dr. Limadi has already emphasized, the need to give the support, the psychological support, and the social support required to our, not only our patients, but also the health carers. And a very important issue is of staffing, especially once we know that at least a third of our healthcare providers have become COVID positive themselves, and they have passed through the infection. Some of them have turned negative now. Some are going through the process. Some are in quarantine. So staffing has been an issue, and staffing with trained manpower remains an issue which is being looked after because of the enormity. Initially, the number was very high, but since 11th of June, the numbers have been declining. So this staffing issue has been now, I think, resolved for the time being. Then, talking about the information system and the IT system, we do not have an electronic medical record system at present, but I think this is high time, and because most of the monitoring of these patients is being done, and various type of social media apps are being used to convey the progress reports and to take messages, especially the WhatsApp is being used to share images, to share the vitals of the patients, to take opinions, and so on and so on. And if this, if what we have been talking about with Dr. Waqas and what you propose, if we go on with it, that can also be an impetus to have an EMR system, if we begin with corona patients, and then that can subsequently be expanded to the rest of the patients as well. Then I think one of the very important thing that we should also think about is that during this pandemic, Mayo Hospital is a 2,700 bedded hospital, and we have more than 46 different departments which provide service to the patient. But at this point of time, as we know, we are providing a bare minimum service, because I also look after the Department of Surgery. We are only doing emergency surgeries at present, and we are doing those malignancies which we had been dealing with before. They were on neoadjuvant, and now their chemo cycles and these things are being completed, and they come back for their surgeries. But of course, we have calculated that about in the last 4 months, more than 11,000 elective surgeries have been postponed. And once we go back, we try to normalize our situations. That would be a main issue, how to go back to and how to cater to those patients, and also cater to those patients who would be coming subsequently. So I look forward to this very important collaboration which is going to happen between KEMCA UK and King Edward Medical University, and all my best wishes and prayers that this proves to be a great success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We have one question that about research trial at the moment going on related to COVID-19 at KEMU. Professor Bilkis, do you have any information?
Yes, there has been a special issue which is going to be inshallah published of annals of King Edward Medical University. We have about 52 researchers. A majority of them are based on our observational studies on the patients of Mayo Hospital and affiliated hospitals, plus some of the interventionals. So we are looking forward to it, and inshallah it would be published in a month's time by the end of July.
Atar Saab, you have a question?
Can I also add something here, Dr. Prasad? We are collaborating with the Global Surge Group, and we are also participating in COVID surge trials, which are taking place all over the world, in not only for general surgical patients, but also for cancer surgeries as well. So we are collaborating in the Department of Surgery is collaborating in those COVID-related researches as well.
Can I ask one question? Thank you very much, Naki Sahib. I really remember that good time spent with you, T.A. Shah Sahib. Allah Ta'ala unko Jawari Rahmat mein jagah de, aur Gondal Sahib. I really remember that good time. So my question to you is that, particularly specific to this project, I mean, how much time it will take for you to get approval from government for patient confidentiality or data, etc., or if that is a big problem, whether we just anonymize the patient data and you discuss patients with us, like patient number 1, 2, 3. If that does become the issue, but if that is not the issue, you can get this approval from government about all these patient confidentiality issues, etc.
सिर्फ एक इशू होगा कि सारा डाटा हम वकास के सिस्टम पे उस अंदाज में शेयर करें. That will be issue, but आप अपनी मीटिंग्स लाइक हफ्ते में 1 मरतबा या 2 मरतबा या जो आप डिस्कस जब करना चाहें, हमारे आईसीयू के ये इंटेंसिव केयर के हमारे सलमान इसको सारे आ चुके हैं, तो दे हैव गॉट ऑल द डाटा, दे कैन डिस्कस देयर एंड देन. There is no issue of starting the such meeting even from tomorrow onward. KEMCA lab में I will provide all the facilities. Team is already there. और इस टीम में प्रोफेसर असगर नकी, बिल्किस शबीर और पल्मोनोलॉजी के हमारे और इंटेंसिव केयर के लोग मौजूद होंगे. They will have the detailed data of all the patient, and they are already having. They have got a WhatsApp group with me जिसमें तमाम डाटा मेरे साथ शेयर कर रहे होते हैं. तो वो डाटा here and then they can share and then they can discuss.
Thank you very much, sir. Just to outline, there is a time difference.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Atar Sahib has a question before going.
Just one question and a comment. गोविंद साहब, मेरा ये ख्याल था कि केमखाना लैब, जहाँ तक मुझे पता है कि वो केई के मेन कैंपस में है, which is quite a distance from the ITU facility. तो गालिबन ज़्यादा convenient ये होगा कि you have a workstation very near the critical care or the ITU department, so that the clinicians, once they have finished their ward rounds, for example, depending on the timetable that we decide, they can just upload and very quickly have a discussion. That is one comment. The question is from all of you, especially Naki Saab, do you think this diminishing numbers of admissions after 11th of June, is that because the spike that came after Eid is passing, or do you think that the pandemic is over and that is why we're seeing decreasing admissions?
पहले क्वेश्चन का मैं जवाब में ये है कि अतर साहब, हमारे जो आईसीयूज हैं ये घड़ी वाली बिल्डिंग के बिल्कुल सामने हैं, साथ हैं, और घड़ी वाली बिल्डिंग के बिल्कुल सामने हमारी जो किंग एडवर्ड का आ जाता है, सर्जिकल टावर आ जाता है, और बेसिक्स डिपार्टमेंट और केमखाना लैब. वी कैन हैव द मीटिंग इन द सर्जिकल टावर, वन ऑफ द सर्जिकल डिपार्टमेंट उसमें कर सकते हैं, बट नॉट इन द विसिनिटी ऑफ आईसीयू. वहाँ ये तमाम डॉक्टर्स इन पीपीई होंगे, पीपीई के साथ दैट वुड बी अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट, और वायरल लोड एंड ऑल अदर थिंग्स दे विल बी देयर, but they can set up that set in surgical tower or even the KEMCA, that will be the physical equally. And second question, I think Asghar Naqi is going to respond.
Ma'am, can you please hear me?
Yes, Salman, yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Very sorry for the inconvenience you all felt because of some. Actually, I was on the, on my way, and this was a connection problem. Very respected and worthy colleagues from UK and from Mayo Hospital. Just I will take few minutes. Most of the things we have already discussed with Dr. Asif. You hear my voice?
Yes.
Are you okay? Okay. So
Salman, you can also answer Atar Said Saab's question about decreasing number of patients as well, please.
Yeah, sure. Don't worry, sir. Don't worry. Just I will take few minutes because already I have bothered you people a lot. Very sorry for that. Actually, COVID posed a real serious and intense, challenge, especially for the developing world, including Pakistan, where there was, meager resources in terms of especially trained human resource, and infrastructure, and then the equipment. But Alhamdulillah, KEMU as trendsetter, for the last 100 years, most of you are, mashallah, Campbellians. So led the situation from the front, and when most of the other setups of the province were not in the position to cope with this, huge challenge. So we were, flooded with the patient because most of our setups, as I mentioned, that they were not, ready to take this challenge, and they were in the process to, establish their facilities. But Mayo was, again, we need to lead from the front, and we were not having ample time to even prepare our already, very exhausted resources. So in a short time, we established 30-bedded ICU. Dr. Bilal already have discussed the configuration. Initially, it was 30-bedded, then extended to 45 beds. 10 beds were, reserved for the suspect cases, and 20 to 25 for the confirmed cases. Very tough to, as Dr. Tufail very rightly said, that how you protected your healthcare providers. In a setup where already we were lacking the trained personnel, this was a great real challenge, not only to save the patients, but as well as to save our healthcare providers, whatever were available. Very few trained persons, especially for the critical care. So, different training sessions we conducted in a very short time. And the first slide I start my presentation was usually, my slogan was, there is no emergency in pandemic. And this was a message I usually convey to my, juniors and to the other participants, just to make sure that first they protect themselves and then they approach the patient. Even in a crashing patient, my message was just to, protect yourself first and then you approach the patient, because already very limited, very meager resources, especially the trained human resource. If you make an order of these three things: infrastructure, human resource, and equipment, I will make the trained human resource on the top. And because if you have the trained human resource, they can even work in the limited infrastructure as well as in equipment. And that was where we were really deficient till now. So on the one hand, we have to save our healthcare providers. On the other hand, we have to train our whatever human resource was available. And on the third hand, obviously, we have to tackle the patients head on. And Mayo Hospital, as you all are aware that even from the news, you must be hearing that without any preparation, we had to tackle most of the patients. They got sudden cardiac death, and 1/3 of them, they developed later, subsequently on the weaning modes, they developed renal failure, and subsequently also we were lacking and deficient with our dialysis facilities in the very start. And other peculiar phenomena I noted that patient is, rest of the systems are already, criteria is already for extubation, but their GCS was not coming up, even in spite of stopping all the relaxants and all the sedation. So this was, I mean, very strange phenomena, and we were really, because initially from neurology point of view, GB syndrome was reported, Ramsay-Hunt syndrome in a few cases, and variant of GB syndromes. But what we were suspecting that might be they were suffering from some COVID encephalitis or maybe some CVA. And but unluckily, we were unable to get their CT scan brains and subsequent LPs. So they recovered from their ARDS. This I can give you assurance. Meanwhile, what was happening that world over data was coming, especially from US, that they started adopting HFNC and NIPPV. Intervening between they were trying to apply these two maneuvers to avoid the intubations. And that data, reassuring. We were already reviewing our strategy that on IPPV, we were not getting good results initially. And that was, in the month of March. So we were also reviewing our strategy meanwhile. So, as you know that most of our government setups, they are already deficient in the resources, and we were not having facility of HFNC. So what we were thinking after, to avoid these intubations, we did an innovation on the invasive positive pressure ventilation. And what was that innovation? We started using the spontaneous mode, NIV mode of these ventilators. Response of the patient and very good recovery rate. We just started concentrated on this technique. And another advantage for this technique is we also applied CO2 detector. Our ventilators, they were from the Draeger manufacturing. We were also getting direct data of CO2 on the ventilator screen. So these 5 advantages over HFNC, we applied this high flow NIPPV techniques, and all these patients, they were critical patients. They were having a PF ratio between 50 and 100. We applied it, and our criteria to proceed from this high flow NIPPV towards IPPV was hemodynamics and GCS. If any case, our patients was having problems with the hemodynamics in terms of arrhythmia, in terms of blood pressure, or his GCS, below like 13 or 12. So straightforwardly, we didn't delay to proceed with the IPPV. But with this very good and reassuring, rate, we not only strengthened this technique in our ICUs, but also this techniques was being followed from Rawalpindi to Rahim Yar Khan all over the Punjab. And that mask, which we were using with this IPPV, only cost around 4,000. So, and another advantage was with that the patient was already in the vicinity of ventilator, and there was we definitely ensured not to delay the IPPV if in case patient drops his BP or drops his GCS.
Thank
so,
you.
Salman, can I please interrupt? I think your input is very, very important, and thank you very much for doing a wonderful job.
We have one question first, Salman. What is your strategy for proning and timing of it? Just before.
Sir, very sorry to be very straightforward. We were lacking the trained personnel, so we never went for proning on IPPV. Our patients on a ventilator, we were not having sufficient staff over there, so we were unable. But what we did, we go for semi-proning. And most of, because our trained and nurses were not, trained to take care of the fully prone patients on the ventilator. So we continued with the semi-proning. And what I mentioned earlier, most of our patients, they recovered from ARDS, which was the initial indication to start with IPPV. But unfortunately, many of them, they developed cardiac, neuro, or renal complications. And that's why I labeled this disease COVID. This is something more than a simple ARDS. I mean, this is a multi-system disease. And I'm currently, I'm getting the data for that. There must also be the involvement of cytopathic hypoxia as well in these COVID patients who become or who get multi-organ failure.
Thank you, Salman. Just to go towards the practicalities of going forward, what we the UK team is suggesting is that, we have got 4 hours difference. We are 4 hours behind you from Pakistan. So we are all obviously busy physicians. We do NHS job. Usually our working pattern is from 8 to 5, usually. So most of the time before going to the hospital, maybe from, let's say, for example, for myself, 7 o'clock when it is here, and along with one intensivist colleague from here, when your time is about 11 o'clock. So that is what we are suggesting, that we spend 1 hour with you to do a virtual walk around or virtual MDT. You think that 1 hour will be enough to discuss the important patients, maybe up to 8-10 patients, if all other my colleagues agree, and we have to make the order. Just to talk about the practicalities of going forward with this project. Obviously, we will be talking about treatment and management a lot during this. So that is what we are suggesting. If I can have the comments from Mayo team, and also anyone from UK team, all the pulmonologists and my intensive care colleagues want to ask any question just about the practicalities of moving forward and how we can do this.
Sir, you want the real-time demonstration for this technique, or just we need to discuss in terms of theoretical experience and theoretical data?
No, I'm talking about the 1 hour we will be giving you. I mean, from our side, we have got enough people. We can do almost every day 1 hour. I mean, whatever your need is, and especially where we can make the difference. And I think where we can make the difference is those patients who are on high flow oxygen, CPAP, NIV, or who are intubated. Okay, and this is the group. Let's say you have got 10 patients. You put the data in the system for those 10 patients, and our team, which will consist of at least 1 pulmonologist and 1 intensivist, they will discuss those patients with you. We'll just go through maybe 3-4 minutes, 5 minutes per patient, or 10 minutes per patient, and we'll just go through. As you know, the COVID management is, all basically, but just to talk about the practicalities, how we are going to spend that 1 hour and how much we can make most of it during that 1 hour.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tufail. I think this is the bottom line message or the conclusive message of all this, this exercise we are doing, that we must develop a group which should share the data of the patients in terms of their indications, management, and prognostication. So I will request Professor Balkis Shabir and our worthy Vice Chancellor Sahab. I think this is very practical and we can manage it easily. This must be beneficial, very beneficial for us. And because sir, one thing I want to mention that this high flow NIPPV, initially, I used it in the era of H1N1, like 2 years back. And at that time, it was a very limited data of 6 patients. And those patients, those 2 patients, I still remember, they signed D and V. Do not ventilate. So I was left with the only option to continue with BiPAP. At that time, I used it, and those 2 patients, alhamdulillah, saved out of 6. 2 of them died, and 2 of them subsequently discharged from IPP.
Salman, inshallah, we will talk about all these management plans. Inshallah, we will share your experience and our experience with us.
From Dr.
management. If we could get particular questions from the people who will be doing these meetings, just about the practicalities, please. Yeah.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Dr. Majid Mushtaq.
Dr. Majid Mushtaq.
जी बहुत शुक्रिया. मैं प्रोफेसर गोंदल साहब से और बल्कीस 2 excellent leaders और मैंने बड़े तहम्मुल से सारी बातें सुनी हैं और it is very impressive setup in Mayo Hospital. मुझे as a pulmonologist working in UK and have a great loyalty to my institution, मुझे लगता है कि मुझे आपसे पूछना चाहिए particularly Professor Bilkis से कि कहाँ हम इनकी हेल्प कर सकते हैं या कोई म्यूचुअल हेल्प कर सकते हैं कि आप ड्राइव करें एजेंडा को, कि आप हमें बताइए कि जनाब ये चीज़ें हमें डेवलप करने में कुछ प्रॉब्लम है या इसमें एक्सपर्टीज चाहिए. मैंने 2-3 चीज़ें ऑलरेडी पिक की हैं इसमें. फॉर एग्जांपल मुझे थोड़ी सी सरप्राइज हुआ है कि आपका जो CPAP सेटअप है या NIV सेटअप है वो HDU और ITU के अंदर है एज कंपेयर टू व्हाट ए नॉर्मल प्रैक्टिस इज. उसमें कोई हर्ज नहीं है, लेकिन आपके पास मे बी यू गॉट ए restriction in your pulmonology numbers and things like that. लेकिन मुझे जो क्लैरिटी चाहिए वो ये है कि ताकि मैं कोई पैटर्नाइज ना करना शुरू कर दूं जब हमारी मीटिंग हो, कि आप हमें बताइए कि हम क्या कर सकते हैं आपके लिए.
Sir, I'll try to contribute into that. I think Professor Khalid Masood Gondal would be the final person to make this decision. But my suggestion is that if we could share the details of our patients without, exposing their privacy, as Professor Askanaki mentioned. If we could share them on we can make a WhatsApp group, we can share them, and we can have a Zoom meeting at once or twice a week. Daily Zoom meeting, I think, would perhaps not be possible because the workforce here is very less as compared to the number of patients. So daily meeting, I think Dr. Salman Ayaz and Asif and Professor Saqib would agree with me that would not be possible, but we could exchange like we are already doing that. Actually, we are having WhatsApp groups on which we discuss patients, and immediately everybody responds to that. If I need help of a psychiatrist, Dr. Hashmi responds to that, Dr. Nazish responds to that. If I need help of a pulmonologist, Dr. Salman is there, anesthesiologist, Dr. Farooq is there, surgeon, Sir, Professor Khalid Masood Gondal, Askan Naqi Saab, everybody is there. So if we could have such a group where we could approach you anytime and you could, contact us on WhatsApp, plus have once weekly or bi-weekly Zoom meeting discussing all the cases. This is a suggestion which I'll put forward to Professor Khalid Masood Gondal Saab and Dr. Tufail, and maybe you could decide upon that. But a daily meeting perhaps would not be possible with very few number of
मैं एग्री करता हूँ आपसे. मुझे let me tell you what I think would be good. I know systems to some extent in Lahore as well. तो इसमें ये हो सकता है कि आप एक डेटा सेट जो है वो एग्री करें कि जो कि पल्मोनोलॉजी और इंटेंसिविस्ट देखते हैं एट द टाइम ऑफ डिसीजन मेकिंग. वो ज्यादा से ज्यादा 6-7 पॉइंटर्स होते हैं, उनका एक डेटा सेट बनाएं, उनको आप एक्सचेंज कर लें व्हाट्सएप पे, ठीक है ना जी. और उस पे जो है फ्यू मिनट्स ऑन ईच पेशेंट डिस्कशन हो जाए, व्हाटएवर नंबर ऑफ टाइम्स अ वीक. वो आप और तुफैल साहब और प्रोफेसर गोंदल साहब उसको टाइम टेबल कर सकते हैं. हम हाजिर हैं इधर आपकी खिदमत के लिए. खिदमत भी है हमारी और हमारी लॉयल्टी भी है किंग एडवर्ड मेडिकल कॉलेज से. प्रोफेसर गोंदल साहब को पता है ये. एक और चीज अगेन जिसमें मैं थोड़ा सा, मुझे मैनेजमेंट का एक्सपीरियंस है हेल्थ केयर में, कि अच्छा होता है कि एक जो प्रोटोकॉल जो है बन जाए, जो कि हम दोनों एग्री कर लें, मीनिंग बाय कि आपके जो मरीज आते हैं उनको कैसे आप व्हाट इज द फ्लो ऑफ थॉट व्हिच गोज थ्रू योर हेड, कि किसको NIV पे डालना है, किसको CPAP पे डालना है, किसको इंट्यूबेट करना है, किसको स्टेरॉइड्स देने हैं. अब आपने जिक्र शुरू में मेरे किसी कोलीग ने एंटीवायरल ड्रग्स का किया था, किसी ने टोसिलिजुमैब का भी किया था. अब I mean we are using drugs like these in a trial form. और King Edward obviously is a huge institution, इसकी बहुत ज़्यादा पुलिंग पावर है, तो वो तो कर सकते हैं यूज इस तरह. लेकिन उसको भी इन ए ट्रायल फैशन ही करना चाहिए। तो ये मेरी आइडियाज हैं कि एक डाटा सेट 5-6 चीजें जो है, उसमें एक चेस्ट एक्सरे होता है, ऑक्सीजन होती है, वाइट सेल काउंट होता है, CRP होती है और मरीज की कोमोबिलिटीज होती हैं। उनकी बेस के ऊपर कोई भी एक्सपीरियंस फिजिशियन जो है वो डिसीजन कर सकता है।
I'll share on that.
Sir,
we already have SOPs for that. I'll be sharing that on the group if you like, or on the chat. We have SOPs for that, and we actually make a decision. Tocilizumab is an investigational drug here still. We have limited number of injections which have been made available to us by the Punjab government, and it is still an investigational drug. As far as remdesivir is concerned, again, it's not. We are still, starting off with it. We have not set it as the therapeutic drug, as there is no therapeutic drug as far as we know. So I'll be sharing the SOPs which we have prepared for both of these on the group. I have them with me, or maybe I can share the picture of the document, and Dr. Tufail can, sort of circulate.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Madam, can I add something?
Yeah, sure.
Sir,
मेरा थोड़ा सा मैं इंटरप्ट कर सकता हूँ तुफैल?
जी।
अगर मैं आप सबसे अपॉलोजाइज करते हुए इजाजत ले लूं, क्योंकि 12 बजने में 10 मिनट रह गए हैं और इशा की नमाज 12 बजे से पहले पढ़ लेनी चाहिए, तो मैं थोड़ी सी इजाजत लूंगा। और मेरा
That's so kind of you, for your time and everything.
बाकी ये कि प्रोफेसर बिल्किस और डॉक्टर सलमान ये तमाम मौजूद है, और इसमें मैं बिल्किस की इस बात से एग्री करता हूँ कि वेबिनार मीटिंग जो है हफ्ते में 1 या मैक्सिमम 2 मरतबा, और बाकी ये ऑल दीज दे आर द एक्सपर्ट, और इनकी मेरा ख्याल ये है कि आपके इस वेबिनार के बाद दे शुड हैव अ मीटिंग, द डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ मेडिसिन, पल्मोनोलॉजी, क्रिटिकल केयर एंड एनेस्थीसिया पीपल, उनको एक मिल के मीटिंग करनी चाहिए। और माजिद को देख के मुझे बहुत खुशी हो रही है, ही इज माय क्लास फेलो, लेकिन मेरे से थोड़ी सी उम्र ज्यादा लग रही है, इसलिए कि मैंने अपने आप को रंग लगा के थोड़ा सा जवान रखा है। माजिद वेरी प्लीज टू सी यू एंड वेरी हैप्पी ऑन योर ऑफर और कंट्रीब्यूशन। तो ये एक स्ट्रेटजी बना लेंगे, दैट विल बी शेयर्ड ऑन दैट व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप, एंड आई एम वेरी ग्रेटफुल टू ऑल द KEMCA UK and my friends and colleagues in UK for extending help to the alma mater. This is a sort of payback, or we respect you and we love you and we regard you a lot. Thank you.
हमारे लिए भी दुआ करेगा नमाज में।
दुआ में दरख्वास्त।
खुदा हाफिज।
So yes, we can move forward with twice a week and meetings, and we can discuss all the SOPs and everything. I will be interested from a UK pulmonologist and intensivist if you got any questions to ask while Professor Bilqis Shabir and Salman and Asaf are here, please, because you will be the people who will be delivering.
Farooq, do you have any question? You want to unmute yourself?
Yes. May I ask something? Thank you very much, Professor Bilqis. That was it's correct that you've mentioned that tocilizumab is an investigational drug. So is remdesivir. In UK, we've had the recovery trial, which had 5 arms, and in fact, the only thing that showed promise, and that too is not peer reviewed, is dexamethasone at a dose of 6 milligrams for 10 days. And its benefit is mostly in those patients who are ventilated, intubated. In fact, there is some benefit in those patients who are on oxygen as well, but it may in fact be harming patients if it's been given too early, and this all might sort of work with the mechanism that steroids are actually obtunding the cytokine response. So that, sorry? Okay. So the only thing of benefit, if we keep it simple, the way you've mentioned that invasive techniques are only last resort, especially since invasive techniques required a lot of infrastructure, a lot of nursing, 24-hour nursing provision, which of a standardized quality, which may not be always available in Pakistan. I'm sure KEMU has excellent nurses who can provide 24-hour cover with giving handovers on a regular basis. But those are the basics of intensive care. Intensive care is all about supportive treatment, organ-based treatment, and in COVID, of course, the main organ that's involved is primarily the lungs. So I'm pretty impressed by what everybody said, and it's really encouraging the way you are actually handling this at King Edward. But at the moment, what I would like to say is that all of these really highfalutin interventions like antivirals, in fact, lopinavir and ritonavir have not been shown to be of any effect. Your algorithm that you mentioned includes hydroxychloroquine. We've actually ruled it out in the recovery. Sorry?
We are not using it now after FDA has approved it.
Okay.
This was one of the initial
algorithm that you sent.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the initial one.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Well, I'm really very impressed with the way you're taking it, and God bless you all. Excellent. Thank you very much for a very good effort.
Thank you, Rizwan.
Thank you, everybody. I think we are approaching 8 o'clock, so I think inshallah we'll have further discussion. We'll all going on our WhatsApp group, and inshallah we'll make our strategy from here. Everybody, thank you very much for your contribution. Please want to say some words before we finish.
Yes, thank you so much. Professor Khalid Masood Gundal has gone for namaz, and in his place, I'm really, really very grateful for the interest you're taking. And I think the mutual learning would be a lot of benefit in service of our patients. So inshallah, we'll be getting on to a plan, probably exchange of patient data on WhatsApp group, and twice meeting on Zoom. Perhaps would be the best way, but we will work on it on the group. We are very, very grateful for the interest you've taken, and this has been a very beneficial session for us.
Thank you very much, madam.